Welcome to Burlington's Candidate Forum. My name is Alan Foles, and I'll be moderating the discussion. I'm joined by a press panel to ask the questions. On my far right is Joy Richard of the Burlington Union. Seated next to her is Rich Hosford, B News Director here at BCAT. At this session, we focus on the race for moderator. We have two candidates for the one-year position. On my far right is the challenger, William Beyer. Mr. Beyer has been a town meeting member for more than 26 years and is a former member of the Ways and Means Committee for 12 years. On my near left is Sally Willard. She is the incumbent. She was first elected in 2015 and is Burlington's first Madam Town Moderator. Prior to serving as moderator, Sally was a town meeting member for 17 years. She was chair of the Capital Budget and Land Use Committees. She's lived in Burlington for 30 years. She's an entrepreneur with a degree in economics and an MBA. Welcome, everybody. We'll start with the ground rules. Here's how we will proceed. Each candidate will offer a 1-minute opening statement. After that, our press panel will ask questions of the candidate. Each candidate has 90 seconds to answer. We'll alternate between members of the press panel as well as the candidates for first response. If the questioner has a follow-up, we'll allow that as well. Next, each candidate is allowed to ask one question of the other candidate, again with 90 seconds to respond. Finally, each candidate will give a 2-minute closing statement. In the interest of covering as many subjects as possible, we'll try to keep a close watch on the time, so frame your answers accordingly. If everyone's all set, we will begin by a lottery we had earlier. Ms. Willard, you get to go first.
Thank you, Alan. The role of the moderator is a critical one. It's important to be independent, impartial, and respectful, and to encourage participation among town meeting members. I believe broader participation in our legislative process is key. I'm seeking re-election because I want to continue strengthening town meeting as our local legislature. Prior to serving as moderator, I was a town meeting member and served as chair on committees for many years. I was fair and impartial and showed respect for all. I encourage open discussion. I reactivated town meeting committees that were inactive for many years. I initiated town meeting information sessions, helping town meeting members and residents better understand the issues. My steady, calm, and respectful disposition fosters mutual respect and contributes to a healthy debate. I look forward to another successful year as your town moderator.
Thank you very much. Now, Mr. Beyer.
Thank you, Alan. And thank you to our reporters. I'm expecting some good challenging questions from you, and to BCAT for sponsoring this. Okay, now the 1-minute introduction to Bill Beyer. I grew up nearby in Wakefield. Graduate of Dartmouth College and the University of Montana at the Master of Science in Geology. Been a professional geologist for more years than I care to think about. I'm an environmental consultant now with a local office. Kathy, my wife, and I moved to Burlington 30 years ago with our daughter Carrie Ann. I've been involved with the community ever since we got here. Volunteering with the community garden for people helping people. As a father of a special ed daughter, I was active in the special ed parents group, being chair of it for 7 years. But what's more important for our discussion here tonight is I've been a town meeting member for 26 years, including 12 years of that on the Ways and Means Committee, 4 years as chairman. I brought some significant changes to the Ways and Means Committee, and I look forward to helping town meeting do some further changing in that direction. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now we'll begin with the questions. We'll start with Rich Hosford asking, and the first question we'll start with Bill Beyer. Rich?
All right, just a general question to start out. What would you say is the main role of the town moderator, and what makes you the best candidate to fill that role?
Well, the town moderator serves two primary functions. I mean, one of them is to conduct the meeting, and the other is to make appointments to 7 different committees. Now, I have a distinct advantage in that I have detailed knowledge of every facet of town government. I've worked with every department. I'm familiar with everything they do and how they operate. It's very important for the town moderator to have that information in order to judge the flow of a meeting and make sure that both sides of arguments are heard. It's critical. The other part is making committee selections. As chairman of Ways and Means, I've had to do that. I've learned the value of continuity in appointments, that continuity allows people to develop expertise and bring real leadership and information and strong recommendations to town meeting. And I've had that experience, and I expect I can do it again.
Okay, thank you. Sally Willard, the same question.
The moderator, as Bill said, has two jobs. One is to conduct town meeting in an impartial and fair manner so that the debate on the issues at hand can be open and productive, and so that people who do not know what their decision is before they go into town meeting can learn from the debate. The moderator's other job is to appoint members of the 7 town meeting committees, as well as any ad hoc committees that might be formed or that might be town-wide committees. And I've appointed more than 24 people to 7 committees and have done so impartially and fairly.
Thank you. For our next question, we go to Joy Richard, and this will first be directed to Ms. Willard.
Thank you. What is your philosophy on the balance between keeping a meeting focused and allowing members to bring up related topics to make an argument?
Well, the moderator conducts the meeting by keeping people on topic. It's not appropriate if you're talking about oranges for someone to start speaking about grapes or cranberries. So that's off topic. Mm-hmm. So to keep the meeting focused, you really have to pay attention to what people are saying, and as they veer off, because people invariably do, bringing them back to the topic at hand, or asking them to wind up and having them sit down. So it's sometimes a balancing act. I'm polite, and so I ask them to respectfully sit down or get back on topic.
Thank you.
Okay, Bill, same question.
You know, Joy, you hit a question that's really comes to the art of being a moderator. The reason for the debate is to address the warrant article that's in front of us, and that's really what we must focus on. But sometimes we end up in gray areas. I mean, there's white and there's black, and in the middle is this gray. And sometimes there's material that people wish to bring in that appears to be related, and you want to give them a little bit of a chance, a little leeway, but you have to watch it. You can't let them get out of control. You can't let them go down the wrong street. You got to try to keep people focused, but understand that sometimes you need to give them a little opportunity to stretch the argument that they're trying to make.
Okay, thank you. For now, the next question will go back to Rich Hosford, and we'll first direct it to Mr. Beyer.
All right. So I think everyone would agree that the town moderator needs to not only understand the rules of running town meeting, but also understand the warrant articles themselves and some of the history. So talk about how you would be in a position to have that knowledge, and if you didn't, what would you do to make sure you sort of gained it and were sort of ready for town meeting when it happened?
It's critical that the moderator know what's going on in town. I mean, one advantage of having spent 12 years on Ways and Means is that I've dealt with every department in town, for 12 years. So I'm familiar with all the aspects of town government and know what the major issues are. But granted, issues change. And it's important to talk with people beforehand, to get all the parties involved, to have discussions with all the parties involved, so you know what their issues are, and make sure that the people who are going to be coming and speaking to town meeting are prepared and can present the arguments, both pro and con, for a proper evaluation by town meeting.
And the same question, Sally.
Well, I think that to prepare for town meeting, you need to absolutely be knowledgeable about what's going on in town. I do that in large part by watching the many programs that we offer on BCAT, the Planning Board, Ways and Means, the Selectmen's meetings. I also have conversations with people who are in the different meetings. I've been on the Capital Budget Committee as well as the Land Use Committee. And having that knowledge and working with all the people that come through on those, I think has helped provide a really good base for my knowledge. But I watch the meetings because they're made available and it's always informative.
Thank you.
Okay, next question, we go back to Joy, and this will first go to Ms. Willard.
What approach would you take to filling seats on committees you appoint to?
Well, we have a sign-up sheet at the back of the room at the beginning of the May town meeting and ask people who are interested to put their names on the list. Sometimes there aren't as many people who have signed up as there are openings. And in that case, it's usually fairly easy. In other instances, there are more people who are interested, and I will talk to the people who are interested and find out what their qualifications are, why they're interested. My goal has been to bring new faces of qualified people, new perspectives to the committees. And I've done that with the Land Use Committee. I did that with the Bylaw Review Committee. I've appointed 3 new people, one former member to the Ways and Means Committee. And I think that there's a good mix. I just think that it's, I'd like to get more people participating, and that has been also one of the things that I've considered.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Beyer, the same question.
Well, this is probably the most important thing a moderator does. It's the unseen job that the moderator does, but in some ways it is the most important. And it's certainly, oftentimes I'm sure the moderator has to go looking for people because not everyone wants to do it. But we need to find people who are qualified, who are capable of working on committees, because not everybody is. I have to disagree with the current moderator on her approach, in that she's so concerned about involving new people that she removed 30 years worth of experience from the Ways and Means Committee. Now, on a committee that it takes 3 years before you have any value to the committee at all, that was real damaging. And continuity on committees where it takes people time to learn the job is very important.
Thank you.
All right, we now move to our next segment where you get to ask questions of each other. Mr. Beyer, you get to ask first.
Ms. Willard, you've now been moderator for a couple years and have made changes on some committees. There are other committees that are almost dysfunctional, yet you haven't. So I'm wondering, I mean, the committees we all know about that aren't operating very well, so I'm wondering, if you're reelected, what are you going to do about those committees?
Ms. Willard.
Well, which committees do you feel are dysfunctional? The Facilities Committee hasn't met for for 8 years, 7 or 8 years. The bylaw review committee that I reactivated has been very active. They immediately went in and they found bylaws that hadn't been updated, one that hadn't been updated for 30 years, and others that we had 6 precincts in the bylaws. It had been 5 years, and they updated that to 7. So they've been very active. The Rules Committee is a tough one because town meeting doesn't really want a set of rules other than what we have. The Land Use Committee is slowly changing because I have worked with the members to organize. Everyone had, for some reason, everyone had the same expiration, the same term. And I've worked with them all last year and have settled with them whose term was going to end this year. I appointed a new member last year, Dan DiTucci Jr., and I think he's been doing very well. My hope is that I can resuscitate the Facilities Committee, just as I have resuscitated the Human Services Advisory Committee. They created a brochure to help people with learn about fuel assistance programs, and they had not been active for many years. Many of the committees had not even had meetings for 12, 15 years.
All set. Okay, Ms. Willard, you now get to ask your question.
In preparation for becoming moderator, I completed a course for the National Association of Parliamentarians exam, and I had moderated 7 years of BCAT debates. Elections are in April, town meeting is in May. As of today, is there any extensive training programs that you've completed that will enable you to ensure the continued success of town meeting if you are elected?
Mr. Beyer.
Well, I certainly have plenty of experience running meetings. That is certainly not something that's new to me. As chairman of Ways and Means, I mean, and on subcommittees for Ways and Means, I've moderated or chaired, 100 meetings. So I am very familiar with Robert's Rules of Order, how a meeting is run. It's not the rules of order that make a good moderator. There are many other aspects to running a meeting than being able to quote and follow Robert's rules. And it's to my way of thinking, it's not a very strong moderator has to rely on going to a rule in order to run a meeting, in order to keep it under control. I think I have plenty of experience in running meetings and keeping them under control, so that should not be an issue with me.
Okay, thank you. We now move to our closing statements. We'll go in the same order as we did with opening. So Sally Willard, you get to start. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you. Having been a moderator of BCAT debates for many years, I understand and appreciate your role, Alan, and thank you BCAT for holding this forum. The town moderator needs to be impartial, independent, firm, and respectful. And as such, I believe that I'm uniquely qualified or suited to give all town meeting members and thus all residents their vote. Our fellow citizens become town meeting members because they wish to participate in local government. As moderator, my primary responsibility is to conduct town meeting impartially, which means calling on members who want to speak to an article, regardless of their point of view. If the town's representatives are not able to speak and state their point of view, then residents' voices will not be heard. How members will vote is not my concern. My concern is to be certain that the discussion prior to the vote is relevant and all points of view are heard. As moderator, I am also responsible for appointing members to town meeting committees. I make these appointments in a fair and impartial manner. I have appointed more than 24 qualified people to these committees, some of whom have either never participated or have not participated for many years. I always treat people with respect and never voice negative opinions about anyone or raise divisive issues. My calm and respectful disposition fosters mutual respect, which is why I continue to have support throughout our town, including a majority of town meeting members. My proven and independent dedication to strong local government in Burlington benefits all residents. Thank you. I am Sally Willard, and I respectfully ask for your vote as town moderator on Saturday, April 8th.
Thank you very much. And now, Bill Beyer, your closing statements.
Thank you, Alan. And thank you to you folks who have watched this debate. I'm glad to see that you've taken the time to participate in our local government. I am a big fan of town meeting, and I would look forward to the opportunity to be its moderator. Town meeting runs reasonably well, but there's improvements that need to be made, and I would like to make some of those. I would like to see more openness. I would like more of the committees that report to town meeting to be televised. I would like to work with people who present at town meeting to make sure that they present well and get all the information out. We've had town meeting debates that went way too long because the people presenting left everyone confused as to what the issues were. Now, my campaign has always had one issue, one problem, and that is Bill Beyer is not a well-known household name in town. I'm well respected by the people that I've worked with. 12 out of the 14 members I was on Ways and Means with last year are supporting me. The majority of the Board of Selectmen, the majority of the school committee. So those folks know me and support me. I'm trying to get my name out so more people will. Now, if I wear this hat, there's a few more of you who will recognize me. And people will ask, and have asked, why would a kid from Wakefield wear a Stetson? Well, I'll tell you. This hat was my father's. I bought this hat for him when he came out to visit me in Montana to celebrate when I got my master's degree. My father was active in local government in Wakefield. He was on the Finance Committee, Board of Public Works, Board of Assessors. And one lesson I learned from him was the value and the responsibility to participate in your local government. So when I wear this hat, it's because I'm thinking of him, and it's reminding me of my duty and responsibilities when I go to town meeting. So, you know, if you don't remember the name, Bill Beyer, that's okay. I appreciate it if you remember the hat. And on April 8th, if you don't want to vote for Bill Beyer, vote for his hat. And let's see if we can work together to make Burlington's government work better. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, we've reached the end of our discussions. In closing, I thank the candidates, Sally Willard and Bill Beyer, not only for sharing their vision, but also for offering their time and service to the town of Burlington. Thank you again to Joy Richard of the Burlington Union and Rich Hosford of B News. Finally, thank you to Jen Dodge and the rest of the staff and the volunteers here at BCAT. I remind you, Election Day is Saturday, April 8th. The polls at the high school are open from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Here's your chance to have a direct say on how your town is governed. Make sure you take advantage of that right and responsibility. And thank you for watching.